All right, y'all, this is the video. If you're trying to make your business, your website pop up #1 or 1, 2, or 3 spot up on Google so that you get tons of business, tons of phone calls, this is the video for you. So we have been doing several videos now on keyword research and how SEO works and what kind of software to use and just how to analyze things to make sure that web traffic's coming in your way. If you haven't seen those videos, I do recommend that you go back and start from the beginning and start watching all of them. At this point, we've identified a whole bunch of unique keywords that we want to rank for. We think that there's a lot less competition for these words and still an extreme amount of people searching these words that we think that we could rank really high for. Now that we've identified those words, it's time to actually implement them. So this video is going to go through all of the different changes that we need to do to our website, very specifically what kind of copy on which pages. We analyze if we change a few words, what would that do to our scores? This is the tactics. So this video is very dense, a little bit on the longer side, but if you're really interested in making some changes and having this stuff changed, this is the video for you. So grab a piece of paper and a pen, take notes, and not only just take notes, but think about your own business. As we're going through and making all of these changes and suggesting things, think about your business and kind of track things along with it, because this is the work you need to do to climb Google.
Okay, so after our last discussion, we did kind of step 1 of SEO. We kind of showed you what SEO was, and then we started doing keyword research. Now the keyword research is more or less complete, but now we have decisions to make. So now what we need to do is we need to look at the entire list of keywords that we have planned and start figuring out which keywords we're going to put to which pages of the site. Are we going to use all the keywords? Which ones are going to be like our focus keyword? Every page needs a focus keyword. You can't rank like, 500 words for one page necessarily. We need to have a main target that might fall into kind of like a cluster that all revolves around that same target. And so that's where we're at today. So, the idea here is that when I show you your website in a second, where I show you your rankings, you'll see that your website's not ranking for a lot of these words. So that means what we have to do is narrow in on the words, rewrite some content, implement that content, and then see if we can start getting some rankings to catch. So at the moment, if we were to look a couple of weeks from now, there's no results that we'll see until we start doing some implementation. So hopefully today we can narrow in, do some implementation, and then maybe in a few weeks we can see some pages catch in on Google and see where they land. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. This is going to be a lot of information to look at, but once you kind of stare at it long enough, then you can focus out all the clutter and narrow in on what's really going on. At a quick glance, what I'm using here is a program called SEMrush, SEMrush. This is one of the top SEO programs for kind of tracking rankings, finding keywords, helping write data, just everything needed for SEO. You can even deal with social media and pay-per-click analytics and stuff through here as well. I've got you in as a project, Electrician U here. At a glance, I'm seeing kind of a dashboard where I see some of your domain, basically your URL, electricianu.com, and some kind of statistics that it's pulling in. Now, I haven't actually been able to go in and connect this to your official Google Analytics, so the data might not be 100%, but it's pretty close. I've got position tracking here, and position tracking is basically where we put the words we're trying to target on a list and track them for you. So we got to consider something. Right now, your website is ranked already for a bunch of stuff, but it might not be the stuff we're targeting. So we're going to make a separate list of targeting positions that we're going to track. But that doesn't mean that everything on our list here is everything that your site's ranking for. So I'll show you a quick glance. Okay, so authority score is kind of a metric that this software gives. This isn't a Google metric. Google doesn't have an authority score, but every software does. So this authority score shows that your website is about a 24 out of 100. That's not bad. It's very rare to have a huge authority score. Now, the bigger your brand gets nationwide, the bigger your score will get. I mean, I think we can get you in the 30s, 40s, 50s for sure eventually. Now, the authority score is going to be a combination of quality backlinks, organic traffic, and authenticity of your content. So if I kind of pop in here real fast and just look at your authority score and what Google's doing here, we can see that your organic traffic, they say it's above average. On the list, it's not out, it's not out all the way wide here. So it looks like, not too crazy, but it is above average in comparison to maybe, other websites similar to this. Your profile is pretty natural. For some reason, it's saying that, some of your linking could be a little too high, but either way, and then your backlinks, you don't have many backlinks. So it's average. So we'd love to get more backlinks and we'd love to get more organic traffic, and that will build the authority score. Now, a backlink is a link that's on another website that goes back to yours. So if some of your blogs, for instance, get to the #1 spot, then people might actually start writing articles on other websites and linking to your blogs because they want to reference them in their content. Now, this cross-content referencing, linking, is a link from another website that goes back to your website. It's a huge aspect of SEO. So we want to pull your authority score up higher. But then let's just do a quick look at your current organic rankings. So if we look at what your website's currently ranked for, what I can do is filter this by the top positions. Why don't I cut out some of the clutter here? Okay, so this narrows it down to what's the word you're ranking for and what's the position and what's the volume and the keyword difficulty. So this is your current ranking. So right now your current website is ranking for like electricians, 110 people are searching this word. Now electrician you here, 140. I know more people are actually searching that word. I saw it earlier. But my point here is check out these #1, #2 rankings. They're like DeWalt impact drill review, 480 volt 3-phase color code. I'm not seeing the stuff that we're trying to rank up, which is like electrician training, so that's where you have opportunity. Right now, you have a lot of content, how to replace an electric panel. And that content is what pulling in all that traffic. Okay, what I'm really just trying to show you is one thing, is that your website's ranking naturally for a lot of stuff. But it's not necessarily the stuff we're targeting. So that's what we're ranking for, but now we want to do some targeting. And we can dive into your current rankings really in depth and find opportunities and try to pull them up higher. But let's start with the big opportunities that we need to rank your homepage for. Okay, so right now I have found 70 keywords that I think we should target. Of these keywords, I have tagged them into several tags: continuing education, electrician courses, electrician programs, electrician schools, electrician trade schools, electrician training, and exam prep. And then I went through all of the words here and I tagged the ones that say online, because I figure people looking for online programs, online courses, online training is probably going to be hyper targeted, and that's what we really want. So I've got a whole list of 70. Right now, let's look at a couple things. Well, first, I've got the keyword people are searching here. I've got the intent, are they looking to investigate a brand or are they looking for information? Remember, one of them is for purchase, like looking for a brand, and the other's looking to read content. So for an electrician, like your viewers, they want commercial search terms like electrician near me, electrician in my city. Informational terms would be, how do I change DIY my own outlet? Why is my outlet not working? And then that could get them to read content who then chooses you. But we're looking for people who are actually wanting to investigate your brand, purchase from you. And your current rankings. So look, you actually have some rankings. Now here's the interesting thing. You'll see these are the words you're ranking for. You'll see the positions. The positions are number 16, 22, 23. Now these are numbers in Google. So Google has 10 listings per page. So 1 to 10 is page 1, 11 to 20, page 2, 21 to 30, page 3. So this is page 2 ranking. This is page 3, this is page 6, page 7. So you have a few words. None of them are on page 1 except for your business name. I did put your business name in here. Electrician U. This one searched about 170 times per month. If I scroll down, you'll see now we have all these other words that aren't even here. That means they're not even ranking in Google. Okay. So out of the 70 on this list, look at all these words that aren't even in Google at all. And that's the opportunity. That's where we're going to start looking for results after we make changes. But first, let's see what you do have ranking, because it's very specific. If you see these rankings, first what I'm going to do is scroll to the right, and I'm going to see what page is ranking, because it's the continuing education page. 4 of them, 5, 6, and then the home page. So the homepage is ranking for free electrician courses, and it's number 79, so like page 8, and 480 people are searching that. The rest of them are continuing education courses, electrical continuing education, electrical continuing education, online electrical, variations of the same thing. There is one electrician continuing education and continuing education electrician. Now, interestingly enough, continuing education for electrician is a better word. You like this word, electrician, continuing education. Remember, we discussed last time we talked that electrical is probably not as good as electrician. Now, the electrician ones are the ones that are on page 2 and 3. So those are the closest up. Continuing education for electrician and electrician continuing education is searched 1,300 times a month. So if I were to look at these 3 words right here, I would say these are actually easy wins for you. They have a low keyword difficulty. Remember, your website is 24 authority to this program, so a 23, a 29, these are possible for you. You've already made it to page 2 and page 3. You've got searches that are 1,300 times a month, and you already got your page ranking for it. So right away.
One quick question. Are those our searches for volume, or are those searches for that keyword across Google?
That's how many times this keyword across Google is searched monthly.
Okay. So monthly,
now for your
1,300
website.
people are looking for that. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so 1,300 people roughly a month. I mean, all of this, none of this is perfect. I mean, one month it might be more, 1 month it might. So the way they do this is it's based on the average for the last 12 months. So say a year from now or 6 months from now, these numbers change because they're based on averages for the past 12 months. So on average for the past 12 months from where we are today, 1,300 people are searching continuing education, electrician, and you can rank for it, and you are ranking for it. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is show you a different tab. So your continuing education page right here is based on these programs that you sell by state. Now at the moment, all of these, are products that you can add to cart, and you'll notice that there's no other content on this page other than these products and this wording right here. Now I'm not sure if this is marked as an H1 tag. Basically, there's 4 components to ranking a good page, just basic fundamentals, so to speak. There's, Google's going to tell you it's all about the content, which it is, but there's some fundamental parts of a web page. This, if it's marked as an H1, that means a header 1. That means Google is going to go to your website and they're going to start ranking, they're going to start analyzing the content. And every page on every website needs to have one H1 tag. And that H1 tag is the header 1 that describes what that page is. Typically, that is very similar to the title tag on the backside. Remember when we were in Google, we saw the listing and we talked about writing the new title and the new description. But that's for the listing on the backside. So basically the title describes what the page is in the Google listing. The description is a little description of the page. And then on the front end, the H1 is also what describes the page as a whole. And then Google starts reading the content down. So my point here is that if this continuing education electrician or electrician continuing education. I actually like the way electrician continuing education sounds personally, but then you got this word electrician continuing education online. That's both these words in one. I mean, think about it. Both these words are in one here. And then Google knows that by Google knows this is all a cluster. In other words, you can tell it knows that because it's giving them the same volume and the same price. So my point is that on the back side of this thing, we probably want to have electrician continuing education online.
Yeah.
And then we want to have right here, the H1 be the same thing. Electrician continuing education online courses.
So just to make sure I'm not misunderstanding. You're saying for this specific page's title, we should have that, and for the H1 on the page?
Yes. So on this page, what we want is a title, a meta description, and an H1 tag to be adjusted. And if we were to make those all have the keyword in it that we're trying to focus on, then I think that's going to help jolt this. Because, I mean, this one's already doing well, so you've already got that. But I think if we tightened up the description, because right now your description is continuing education - electrician U. But I think if we did electrician continuing education online courses - electrician U, then that would, give us some more. And the reason why it's already doing well is because you do have it written right here, continuing education courses for electricians. So you've got that content in here. So even if you didn't adjust the H1, like I just mentioned, it probably would still do good. But here's another thing that's missing. This is all the content on this page. That's it. And then the rest is just products. So if you were to do more content, I think that would help the page. So let me show you an example. I'm going to go back.
One quick question. So does it matter where on that page that content is going to be? We've got our H1 and we've got a little blurb there. If we add a bunch more content below that, that keeps pushing down the people then that are not actually searching for that. Does it matter on the page where it's at?
What you don't want to do is try to hide content. With Google the things, you're not trying to hide things or change colors of things and trying to kind of trick them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you do want to get the better experience for your customer. So if you're saying that your customer's experience is best just by getting right to their selection, finding their product, then you do want to put that first. Maybe you want to put a little paragraph above it. Maybe you can squeeze a 150 word paragraph above all that stuff and you're not really pushing it down too far. But then maybe you go down under them and you write 300 words. When I say add content, it doesn't always mean you have to write 1,000 words. So here's an interesting thing that I'm going to show you that these tools help with. I'm going to go to a different section. I'm going to go to the SEO Writing Assistant. And in the SEO Writing Assistant, I can analyze some text. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to import this page, continuing education page, right? So it imported this text. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the keyword that we're trying to rank for, which I believe was electrician continuing education. Okay.
Online too, right?
So I'm going to add those couple words. Whatever word I put at first, it knows to make that the focus keyword. I don't want to put too much in here because right now I like those 3 words the most. Let's go ahead and add the other variation then. And then it's going to put get recommendations. So it's going to start showing me scores over here. Okay. So it's showing me, so you can see all your content right here that's on that page. And what it's showing me is that you have a mediocre SEO score. It calls it mediocre because of the range it's in, 4.2. If I get that.
One quick question while we're here. So that what it's showing there right now is actually a pop-up on that page. Is it also seeing the content behind that?
Oh yeah, that is interesting.
Because if it's not, that's an interesting insight here that we should get rid of that pop-up if that's impacting it showing the rest of it.
Yeah, it does look like it's showing the pop-up. So I'm going to replace it. I just did a copy paste with the actual content on there.
Okay.
We might want to remove the pop-up, but I'm going to rerun it.
Okay.
If we're going to be an authority for these search terms, Brett and I were trying to go with the, like, let's have less in the way of the purchasing, you know, like let's get them right to the product so that they can purchase. But it almost seems like we should have a small, are you an existing user or a new user, and just keep all that extra stuff completely off this page so we're not ranking for weird stuff. Is that accurate, CJ?
Yeah. But, you know, again, so this page right now is already ranking page 2 and 3. And I think it's doing so only because of the URL and the fact that it says continuing education. But because it's already doing that based on a poor SEO score. I think what you want to do is you want to make this page an opportunity for those 1,300 a month people who are looking for this to find it. But you also want to make the page user-friendly for those who are going directly to it. So however you find that balance, I think choosing your state and knowing this information helps that. So you can always put another paragraph under here for these new customers, and then you could add more paragraphs under the products. I mean, it's all about your arrangement, but right away you see in the program how we look, and we can see these different things. Like, for instance, so words, we have 41 words. It's suggesting to have 589 words. The minute you get 580 words, this score is going to jump way up. And then if I go to SEO, it's going to say in here, target these words. It's going to say that we don't have these. If these were highlighted green, then that means that they're on the content here. So at the moment right now, it's suggesting we recommend these words. You got to have your target word in here. So the words we're targeting aren't written in here the way we want it. If I put here, electrician, continuing education, your title has too few words, but my score did start jumping up. You'll see, you know, my score up here is starting to jump up. Course online. Okay, just changing my H1 pulled my SEO score, you know, from a 0.8 to a 3, and you'll notice that on, you know, this side, that's where it really happened. And you'll notice that these started highlighting here. So just that alone was super helpful. Now, if I write 500 words of content, then that's going to pull that way up. And, you know, so you kind of get the idea.
Yeah.
Right.
You almost want to like shape each specific amount of content to that.
Yeah, because what Google's doing is it's analyzing the people who are ranking at the top for that word. And that's why it's suggesting that amount of content, because those people at the top on average have about that amount of content. When I do like SEO for contractors is a word that I rank for. When I plug that into my website, it says that it wants me to have 3,000 words of content for that page.
Whoa.
Because that's what the average is. Now, again, Google's probably going to tell you like, it's not so cut and dry. It's not, you have 500, you have 3,000, and that's why we rank you. Google's going to say they want you to have just relevant, amazing, unique, awesome content, and that's why they rank you. You know, more or less, that's the thing to focus on. But there's these little things that just so happen to be working, and that's why these softwares are like, oh, we've noticed the guys at the top seem to have on average this. So maybe we should do that. You know, so in your case, you guys have like 40 words. The people at the top have 500 words. All it really means is it doesn't have to be 500, but you need more words because the guys at the top, they're describing their pages with more content.
I think I know the answer to this already, but and especially though, we want to make sure that it fits that theme for that page, correct? I mean, like if someone just went out there and said, hey, I need 500 words, and they put together stuff that, you know, is really just not well written or not about continuing education or something like that, that would hurt them more than it would help them, correct?
100%. The key to Google here is relevant, unique content. Contributing something to Google that's not already existing, if you can. That's the hardest part. But It's all about relevance. So, but try to think, you know, when you plug something into Chat GPT or AI, then they're recycling content that's already out, unless you give them really good, unique prompts of new info. But if you're not giving them unique prompts of new info, they're finding everything out and recycling it. Google wants you to contribute something new. Bring something new to their search engine. Sometimes that's really, really difficult. Often ways that I find doing that is by storytelling, because maybe you're offering continuing education, but you might have some unique stories of customers that you can put into that content where it now becomes yours. It's no one else could do it because it's your story. But it's your version. So I find that is a good way to do things. But you see the idea here. The idea is we've identified a page, continuing education. We found a couple great keywords for it, search 1,300 times a month. Now we need to adjust the title, the meta description, the H1 tag. We also want to run it through our content deal. Even if we don't run it through our content, we know it needs content. The page needs some content to describe what it is, but it's not about having a certain amount. It's just about having something that makes sense. So what I would do is I would look at this and I would think, I searched Google, continuing online education for electricians, and I found this page, and I never heard of Electrician U before. What does someone who is searching that word looking for and expecting to find? So if you can put yourself in that mind of the guy who doesn't know you, maybe he's an apprentice, maybe he's a journeyman, and he searched continuing education for electricians. When he lands somewhere, what is he looking for? He's probably looking for why you should do it, what it's going to be helpful, how it works. Just think about all these things that person needs in their answers to, so that page can give them the answers that they're looking for and direct them then to your solution.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so let's keep going because we still want to get to the main nitty-gritty here. We started with the continuing education because that's currently what's ranking. So before we move on, I just want to kind of clean that up just a tad. I'm filtering every word for continuing education. So all I'm doing here is I'm removing things that's going to clutter up what we're trying to target, but those things are still going to do what they do already. And in my opinion, by focusing on this, those just might rise with it. So continuing education, we're targeting 4 words. So it also shows you that you might want to put the word journeyman, master, apprentice, these in your content that you're writing to, just somewhere within. Sprinkle it in just so it exists. Because if you add the word journeyman in there, it's going to exist now. And that gives you the opportunity to rank for this word. Because right now this continuing education page is ranking already, but it's also not ranking for this word. And the only difference is journeyman.
Does that mean just throwing the word journeyman electrician in the copy of the page all over the place? Or does it specifically mean that exact phrase needs to show up on the page?
I tend to find that if you can write things in the exact phrase, then go for it, but only if it reads well and makes absolute sense. Right. If it doesn't read well and make sense, then don't write it exactly. But it also means that the word journeyman just needs to be somewhere in there. Now, don't splatter this stuff everywhere. Just sprinkle it. Think about these things as like little sprinkles. We want it 2% density roughly. Journeyman just needs to exist in there somewhere. It doesn't even exist at the moment. Okay, so that's the continuing education page.
So in a real world, like, we're really doing this, which we are, with a different client, would you be, and let's assume that you're not doing their website for them. So obviously if they're doing your website for them, you're doing this for them. But if you're not doing your website for them, what would your next steps here be? Then it would be sending them the list, correct?
So what we would do on our end, most of our customers, that's what they pay us for is SEO. We would choose these words with you. We would write it, implement it. Half the time they don't even know what exactly it is because we're just writing implement it. They just want results. So the electrician who works with us, we're just writing to implement it for them. Now, for the sake of consulting and for the sake of your viewers, I want them to understand that the point here is that we're establishing keywords to target for unique pages, and then we're writing the title, the meta, which is the listing for Google, and then on the front end, we're adjusting the main header tag and rewriting content so that it includes these words and Google can pick it up. So now we're going to move on to your main core pages, your homepage being the main artery of what we need to rank, and then your courses learning section for individuals, learning section for businesses. Now I struggled a little on those 2 pages, and I'll show you why, and then that's where we're going to need to make some big changes. So let me go ahead and look at your site and show everyone what we're talking about. This homepage is your main artery for everything. It needs to display what you are. We discussed training, electrician training. I've also found keywords for electrician courses, electrician programs, electrician schools, electrician trade schools, electrician training. I want to show you all that data. We're going to have to pick the right one that represents this page. We think it's training, but again, I want to show you what we're up against. Then when you break into the learning system for individuals and businesses, I did keywords and I couldn't really find anything of any volume for things like electrician training for businesses or electrical businesses or electrician businesses. If people aren't searching electrician training for individual or electrician training for businesses, that means they're really searching for electrician training, for master, for, journeyman, for electrician, that's pretty much what they're looking for. So how are we going to, decide what to do here? I'm not sure. But what I do know is the most important will be the homepage. I'm going to the master list. Now we got 50 words on this list left, and it's still ranked by volume. And now I'm seeing these couple words that are 6,600 searched. Apprentice electrician program for apprentices, electrician apprentice programs, multiple ones. Now, again, that doesn't say online, so that doesn't necessarily mean, but it is commercial intent. And this is actually pretty difficult, this one, but it is high volume. So before we kind of get into that, let's just see what the next couple things are. Search 4,400 times a month, electrician training for electrician, commercial intent, lower difficulty, still good volume. We talked about this word yesterday. Then 3,600, electrician training online electrician training, commercial intent, easy difficulty, and 3,600. Right off the bat, I would say, those 2 were probably the highest volume, lowest difficulty, most targeted that I've seen so far. What do you think?
Yeah, for the homepage for us?
Yes.
Yeah, can you go back up, just remind me what the other ones were? The electrical training, is the only reason you're saying training for electrician and electrical training just because they're higher difficulty, or why do you think those 2 you selected are better?
These 2 are better because they say online.
Oh, just because of online?
Just because of online. But remember we talked about last time, electrician training and electrician training online are technically the same word. One just has online. So I am still thinking about these. These are part of the mix. These are what I like. But if I make this one the focus, then I know this can be the focus keyword. It includes this word, and it's hyper targeted, and it's lower difficulty. And it's really not that much less volume. And it's a higher cost per click to Google, which means Google actually thinks this has a little bit more value. I'm going to call this focus. I like to mark the focus keyword. If we're going to rank for these words, then it would be nice to have online electrician programs as an H1 tag, as a URL. And my concern here is that we don't want to put it on both the individual and the business page, because now what we're doing is called cannibalizing. We're trying to rank the same keyword on 2 pages. So it almost makes sense to me to have a page for online electrician programs and then for individuals, for businesses. Keep everything else on for business individuals the same. To me, that's what I would recommend. And we might then come down here to electrician online courses, and we do the same. We try to basically target online courses and the programs in the same page. So maybe this one page, we're trying to target these 2 sets of keywords: electrician online programs and courses, something like that. And now we're trying to get the 1,300 and the 1900 and the 2400. And so basically what I'm proposing is this. I'm proposing that you have these words: electrician training, electrician programs, and electrician courses. And then you have variations of online. I think anything online should be our main focus, but it makes sense to me that your business as a whole represents training, and your learning center represents programs and courses specific.
Okay.
So if we take all the words that I found and you narrow in on the fact that electrician training online, electrician programs online, and electrician courses online are the 3 categories of phrases, it would make most sense, in my opinion, to rank the homepage as a whole for training, and then put program and courses, which are interchangeably the same thing, on your learning center. But because of the conundrum of individuals and businesses, I think we just make a new page that ranks those words and says for individual business and directs it to it. So that's what I'm proposing. 2 pages, 1 targeting programs and courses, but we have to create a new page. Homepage targeting training, all targeting online, but then trying to get the ones without online as just, as focusing on online. Maybe a rising tide will lift the ships of the generic words.
I like that better too, because it's even less confusing as a user that shows up on the website, like what we're getting to the chase of what you're looking for. That's the keywords you typed in. Here's your stuff. Because I do agree, like learning system, nobody even knows what the hell that is, unless you work for a big corporation. So no, I like all of this, man. Yeah.
Yeah. The reality is remember, just like you just said, the person is literally $2,400 a month. They're typing online electrician programs. So when they type that in, if you can give them information about the programs, then that's the wording they're looking for. Now, if you can say, our programs are done through our learning center for individuals. Our learning center for businesses is where our programs are. Our courses are in our learning center for businesses, or for, now you've used your terminology, which you want to brand, but you've connected it to the terminology they're familiar with.
All right, so that is a whole lot of information. There's a lot of homework that I have to do. If you're following along and you've been taking notes, I suggest that you go through your website and try to make a lot of these changes. And the next video, we're going to see what the results are. So we are going to wait a little bit, probably wait a couple of weeks and just see what's going on and how things change. But the next video is going to be those changes and kind of the effects that they had and any tweaking that we need to do to try to see more changes.